think there's a famous dialogue in a movie Om Shanti Om. It goes
I
like,
was about,
yeah,
I'll tell
I
you what, I was
is
just
it,
about to say that
yeah,
you
is it,
believe in Shah Rukh Khan dialogue.
कहते
I
हैं
believe that it's like
अगर
अगर
किसी
किसी
चीज
चीज
को
को
दिल से
दिल से
चाहो
चाहो तो पूरी
तो
कायनात उसे
पूरी
तुम्हें
कायनात
मिलाने की
उसे
कोशिश में लग
तुमसे
जाती है.
मिलाने
I
की
think it
कोशिश में
translates
लग
into,
जाती
if
है.
you desire, if you truly desire something with all your heart, the universe conspires to help you to achieve it. So
So
I
that's
think
telepathy. Believe.
Hello, and welcome to Student Cover Podcast Sessions, the place where student voices and stories come to life.
Today, we have a special guest, a student who has been in touch with us since we start our education loan journey. He's among our very first customers. And right now, he's working in UK. He's working in a company that is in United Kingdom. Um, he's Rohan George, and I would just like to introduce Rohan to the podcast. And Rohan, over to you. Can you just give a brief introduction about yourself?
hello Punit, yeah, nice to meet you. I'm Rohan George, currently working as a data analyst at Times Higher Education, which is based in London. I graduated with Masters in Information Technology and Analytics from Rutgers Business School, which is part of Rutgers University, Newark campus in May 2020.
So, what basically inspired your decision to study abroad? Was there a moment or a reason that sparked your interest?
So I think basically it was really amalgamation of this academic aspirations along with some personal connections moving abroad, and also desire for global exposure
Mm-hmm.
that finally led me to make this decision of studying abroad.
Okay, so another question, which is something like a lot of students would have in their mind before they plan to study or before they have the. Okay, so what came to your mind that, and how did you plan and manage your finances for this journey?
Absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
studying abroad is huge financial commitment, and
Right.
especially for the students like me, who come from middle class background. So when you're thinking about investing 50 lakhs in an education or way more, it's definitely not a small decision. And the first big
Right.
question that comes to you and your family is, how do we fund
Mm-hmm.
this? So
Yes,
that was
absolutely.
the first question for me. And how do I explain this to my family? And how do they have answer to this question? So I
Mm-hmm.
remember in the initial stages discussing it with my dad, and his initial reaction was, he was shocked. He was like, "How on the earth can we afford this?" Then I
Right,
was
right.
like
Yeah.
saddened. I was disheartened. I let the week pass by, and this was all happening during 2016 when I was trying to apply for the first time. And
Mm-hmm.
a week later, he himself came to me and he said, like, maybe he had given a thought to himself throughout that week, and he came up with a decision. And he was like, okay, Rohan, listen, we can manage around 25 lakhs, but 50
Okay.
lakhs would be, out of question.
A
Like,
little bit
nowhere
tough.
they are going to
Yes.
fund 50 lakhs for your
Right.
education. So he said, like, either you find a university that would be done with 25 lakhs, or, pursue some course elsewhere, which would be managed or like, funded under 25 lakhs. So, but, me being me, I always wanted to, go to United States. And I also had like, set of universities decided, especially, where my friends are and where I want to be, where my comfort zone is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think the total cost of my education was around 50 lakhs, which surely ended up
Okay.
more than that. It was around 65 lakhs. But our initial thought was it would be around 50 lakhs. And
Okay.
unfortunately, since we had a family run business, so getting loans from the nationalized bank or, the regular lenders was challenging because the lenders were not keen on approving my application. Then I also sort of approached, the private lenders, but again it was no from their side as well. So I was
Mm-hmm.
stuck behind this loan applications and not getting loan approved. I ignored this, and we decided to fund self fund my education for the first step, first stage where we were applying for NJIT. But
Right.
I went ahead with all my processes, documentation. I got my offer. I did all the required, processes followed after that. And
Okay.
unfortunately, this time my visa got rejected.
Oh,
First
okay.
time. Yeah, so it was
That
NJIT in
is,
2016.
yeah,
So that
right.
was the saddest part of that phase. But me being me, again, I never gave up. I tried again. I tried multiple times, which now I think was foolish of me to, give it multiple tries.
Mm-hmm.
But it's young, when you're young, you just have a dream and you want to go ahead, and anyway get to that dream. So I was trying multiple times and I wasn't sure why I was trying, but that ended my phase one where I was not able to fly to United States, unfortunately, because my visa got rejected. So that was my first instance of knowing student cover.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That's an amazing story. What I want to say, out of whatever you said is that when you focus on something and you never give up, you definitely
Yeah,
achieve it. And you need support from, obviously, the family is there, and when you go to your father, they always have a solution for everything. Like your father
yeah,
also suggested that, okay, there is a plan that okay, we can self-fund a bit,
right.
and then we can also take some education loan. And like you said, student cover is always there to, to support students, to support, everyone who has the dream of studying abroad. And, we are always there to help each and
I
every
know.
student.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's great. That's great. Good to know about your journey. I was not aware. Maybe
Yeah,
Sachin from our company, basically he handles the education loan.
I know. Yeah.
He must be knowing everything, all bit of it as well.
Correct. Yeah.
So good, Rohan. Thank you for your uh, the detailed journey insights that you provided. Now, the another question that I wanted to ask, that how did student cover assist you in preparing for your study abroad journey as your dreams?
Yes, Puneet, definitely. As I mentioned, my phase one, that was the end of my phase one, which, after a few failed attempts to pursue my dream, I decided to pause. Like, it struck my mind, like, after giving numerous visa attempts, like, I need to stop and, pause a bit and think about, think it differently, or like try to, approach it in a different way. So what I did is,
Right.
I decided to pause, gain some work experience, and
That's great.
revisit my plans. So 2 years later, I think around 2018, I was
Mm-hmm.
again, I was ready to try again, and I had this dream of, moving to United States. It was always there.
Okay.
So what
All
I
right.
did, to start with, I retook my GRE. First thing that I did
Mm-hmm.
was I took my GRE and improved my score. Then which gave me more opportunities to apply for better universities this time. And
Right.
one more thing that was I was lacking was not having a loan with my application during the visas interviews in the phase one.
Initially.
So yeah,
Okay.
initially. So I think I was determined to secure a loan to strengthen my case, which seemed impossible, but I was willing to give it a try. So
Yeah.
that's when I remembered, at the last stages of my phase one, I received a call from student cover. So I had saved this number in my phone, which said, like, Sachin from student cover. And
All right.
I don't know what stuck my mind. It was like heat of that moment. No, I want to do it. Let me give it a try. I decided to reach
Mm-hmm.
out to them, and it turned out to be, one of the best decisions I made. Like,
Wow.
Sachin and his team, like, were very incredible. They guided me through the challenging process of, securing a loan. As I mentioned numerous times in my fees, when I was rejected by the nationalized banks, even the
Right.
private
Right.
lenders. I think that was due to the nature of our family-owned business. They were not thorough with the documentation, or maybe other way around. Like, I was not sure about why they
Right.
were doing. So that one phone call, and Sachin was like, "Okay, Rohan, like, this is a difficult case, but it's even challenging for student cover to do it. So we'll give our best, and 100% we'll try to get you a secure
Right.
a loan for your education and to fulfill your dream." So
Mm-hmm.
something Sachin and his team, they did, that was like really incredible. They guided me through the process, through the challenging process to secure a loan,
Right.
which I felt was nearly impossible before. I think maybe their expertise and their encouragement were instrumental, in overcoming my financial hurdles, which
Right.
are instrumental during your, process application when you decide to, do your masters in United States. So with their support, I was able to secure a loan, which gave me confidence and resource to, move forward. So when I
Right.
applied this time for my visa again, I was overall a changed man with better universities in my hand, with an improved GRE
Some
score,
experience.
with some experience, obviously. And what
Yes.
boosted me is I have my financial securities, and I'm
Right.
confident that I would be financially able to fund my education. So I think
Right.
this
Right.
time, the confidence and the resource, I had it all. And when I applied my visa again with these changes in place, it was approved. And it was an,
Wow.
unforgettable moment of joy and relief. I remember myself walking down, from the visa interview, just with happiness and, tears in my eyes, and my mom
No,
waiting
I can
outside
imagine.
and hugging her, and, just mentioning that, mom, we did it finally after, struggle of 3 years. I have done it. And that was one of the special moment, and I'm thoroughly grateful, thoroughly and truly grateful to the student cover, and mainly,
Thank you.
Sachin, for this
Right.
role.
Thank you.
Like, without Sachin, I don't think I would be at this place where I am. And, and he has a bigger role in making my dream to a reality. So does Rudit.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's amazing. No, I can imagine. I can actually imagine how emotional it would have been when
Yeah.
you got your visa, and when you would have just first met your parents after that, okay, and
I know.
telling them that, okay, I've got my visa after such a long wait.
Yeah.
That's
It was
amazing.
massive.
And
Yeah.
you actually touched to a very good point over here, where the students should know that when they take education loan, the chances of getting the visa gets higher. Okay,
Yeah.
when they go with self funding versus when they take education loan, it is always better to have an education loan sanction letter when you go
True.
for the visa interview.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I agree, and that was my case. Like, I think that could be one of the many reasons that my visa was rejected multiple times. And, having a secured loan makes you more financially
Right.
stable to fund your education. So, yeah,
Yes,
definitely.
absolutely.
Like, yeah, definitely having a
Yes.
loan makes a difference.
Right. You get confidence with the
Yeah,
funds. You
I know.
know that someone is there to back you up, and you will not face any
True.
trouble when you will be there studying. Okay, so
Yeah,
you can actually concentrate on your studies and focus purely on your studies.
yes,
Okay.
100% right, 100%.
Great, great. Good to know about that. That student cover has been there to, help you out, and like you, the other students as well. Okay, so over to the next question. Okay, so when you reached US, like what was the first week? How was your first week? And how was your first experience? Like when you landed over there, what was the cultural shocks that that were totally different from what you generally see in India, what you saw in US, and whatever you want to share with other students?
Yes, Punit, like, yeah, definitely. Like, I remember landing at Newark Airport on Jan 15, 2019, and it was
Right.
freezing, it was spring, it was freezing with temperature around 0 degrees, maybe, below that. And I came out of the airport, and I was waiting for my friend to pick me up, and
And when was this? Like this was in the month of
Jan 25th,
Jan? No,
2019,
sorry. Yeah, Jan 2019. Yes,
January
yes, yeah, yeah.
2019, yeah.
Yes,
And
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, I remember, stepping out of the airport with, just one hoodie around me, not aware about the what temperature would be like, and waiting for my friend who was already there.
Right.
And he was late because of his circumstances, or like something. He was late by, something. And
Mm-hmm.
then he came and he drove me back to his place. So I was 1 week going to stay with him, and then I had managed my accommodation. So,
All right.
and when my journey back from airport to his place, I remember I couldn't stop looking out of the window, mesmerized by, the New York skyline. So that's the
Right,
first
right.
thing. Like, I was all of it, and I was just looking at the skyline, and I was like, this is everything I wanted, right? And I felt a mix of pride and awe of having made this far. Like as I spoke to you about my journey, it was kind of difficult, it was kind of
Right.
emotional, it was
Right.
kind of, the never giving attitude that brought me there. So I was in a I was in a mix of, feelings with pride and, also thankful to God for being with me and helped me to make
Always. Yes.
it, right? And
Right.
thankfully, like, at that stage as well, I had help. I had, like, few friends to help me settle in, which made my transition smoother. And I remember even Sachin, proactively, even at that stage, he helped me going beyond, just financial burdens. He
Mm-hmm.
also gave me some useful context. That's where, he introduced me to Adit, who was at
Adit,
that time,
yes.
I think, yeah,
Yeah.
president of a university student organization. So that itself was
Yes.
a big
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
So this
Yes.
connection was, like, invaluable, and he helped me to navigate through university
All right.
and all things around it. And this eased my start at Rutgers. And at the end, like, I end up, getting some on campus jobs with the help of
Oh, wow.
Adit as well. So he
Wow.
helped
Wow.
me secure that, and few of my other friends as well. So that's the good contribution that student cover had on me beyond just the financial responsibilities that they were entitled for. But
Right.
coming to your question, adjusting to the culture was definitely a challenge. The
Mm-hmm.
US itself is a different world, but
Right.
it's also incredibly welcoming. Like I love the culture. I love the people there. They were so welcoming. There's so much to learn, and adapt from, whether it would be a
Right.
weather, a food, or, like, some social norm,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe, like, waiting for the street this pedestrian signal to turn green rather than just crossing around, what we do in India. So the small things,
That's a big shock
yeah,
for
what we
Indians. Yes.
discover there, like, we are not used to it. We are Indians, we just
Absolutely.
rush into
Yeah.
things because we are that busy. And
Right.
yeah,
Right.
so that are
Right.
small things, but, however, like, I embraced these challenges as a part of experience, and the excitement of, some starting something new, and the fact that I was already in United States always motivated me. And as the days turns into week and into months, I myself gradually settled into this new life, and it
Mm-hmm.
was, like, really challenging, but I enjoyed each and every part of it.
Thing which is a question that a lot of students may have in their mind. Academically, how do you find the education system over there in US in comparison to what we have in India, or like anyone who's traveling from any other country to the US? So, like, how the education system overall is different.
I think academically, it's quite different from what we are used to as Indians or in India. But I find it more manageable and, structured in a way that, promotes good learning, maybe deeper learning
Right.
and good understanding of the system, or like what we are learning. I think another thing would be the approach is more practical and hands-on, focusing
Okay.
on, real world application rather than just,
Theoretical.
rote memorizing, which is like, in
Right.
India we have this phrase ratta maro, so that's not the culture there.
I
It's
know.
more
I know.
of
I can
real
understand.
world application, and of
Yes.
course the level of difficulty, it depends on the course and the coursework what
Right.
you have selected. And every course comes with its own set of challenges.
Mm-hmm.
And however, the amount of talent you are surrounded by, right? You have your friends, your colleagues, and the professors there, definitely they are at the highest level there, right? So it makes it kind of easy to navigate around this
Right.
coursework academically. And I think consistency is the key. Like if you stay consistent with the coursework, like there are assignments, there are classwork, there are projects. So
Mm-hmm.
if you consistently go through this, like, and give it your 100% in a disciplined manner, it's not
Right.
that daunting as it may seem. And
Right.
I think the system also in itself encourages collaboration and, critical thinking, where,
Right.
you are always given a task or a assignment where you need to analyze yourself, you need to have that critical thinking approach, which I
Right.
believe better and more effective way to gain knowledge rather than that's the major
Absolutely.
difference in India and US education.
Absolutely. No, I know. This is something that I have been discussing with a lot of students, and they share their experiences that how professors over there are helpful, and a
Yeah,
lot of things that it is like the education is more towards practical knowledge. It is not only related to theoretical or only related to just memorizing everything. So that is definitely there. And also they share a lot of instances of sending emails to the professors rather than sending them messages or making them
yeah,
calls. So they're very active on emails, which is very unlikely with what we see in India.
yeah,
Uh,
I know.
for us, yeah. So
It's
you
completely
can,
different. Yeah. And
yes,
even the
yeah,
professors, they go beyond, like they actually conduct extra classes for you, or if you opt
right,
for a meeting with them, one-to-one meeting with them, they are actively involved in that. They will not hesitate to give you more attention, or like an extra
absolutely,
class to explain you, or like solve your doubts. So that's really
right.
amazing, good of the US academics.
Yes, and what I've also learned that a lot of students have told me that when you are connected well with the professors, the chances of getting the CPT is quite higher. The like as in like GATA specifically, not GATA, but the teaching assistants is quite higher.
Yeah,
What you get,
yeah,
so
that's
they tell you
100%
for
true.
all
Yeah.
the opportunities that are
Yeah.
there in the university.
Yeah, I think that's true, Puneet. When you are close to the professor and you are actively, interacting with him through the course, he understands your potential, and
Right.
that's where that's where it comes in mind. Like that's where he's thinking about you as a research assistant. Maybe he's doing a research around, and he would like you to be involved in it. So the key is like talk to your professor, and speak with him, connect with him. Maybe like don't be shy, like keep asking
Right.
questions. Always, like I find it useful, like always key to success is asking questions, not just questions,
Right.
just be a right questions, right?
Absolutely.
So yeah, definitely keeping in touch with professor kind of helps to get through your CPT. You might end up having a research assistant position at your university itself.
Right.
Even me, in that case, I worked around 3 months as a research and assistant with one of my professor during
Wow.
my CPT. So that kind of
Right.
helped me to build up for the next stage in my career. That was like interviews, or maybe getting a full-time opportunity. So when at the time when I was already in the market, I was well prepared for
Hmm.
the things that are ahead of me, right? So that was really a good thing to be in close kind of contact, like, or be in touch with your professors.
Amazing. That's good to know about it. Okay, now the next question is very important. Is again question related to education loan.
Mhm.
When you started paying the installments, like did you give a thought like while taking the education loan, what installments would be, and how would you repay your education loan, and how were you able to manage it? Could you just
Yeah.
elaborate that like in a brief answer?
I think I had given a lot of thought. I believe planning was the key to manage my loan repayments. So
Right.
I uh, when I decided to take a loan, I was very clear about my career goals, where I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew, like what kind of roles in the future I would be applying for, or what kind of roles I would be pursuing after my graduation. So I know
Right.
I was interested in being a data analyst, and I know I would be a data analyst in the future after completing my higher education. So I also knew the earning potential this field has, and what would be the decent amount of salary I'm going to earn it, along with
Right. Right.
maintaining the decent standard of living as well. When you're in country like United States, you tend to spend more. That's the obvious, right? You don't have any
Right.
control over it. So I think I had calculated all these factors, and as I mentioned, I was aware what my earning potential would be if I, desire to be in that role. So I was very aware
Mm-hmm.
about, all these scenarios. And
Right.
also additionally, I have been, like I mentioned, I was in New Jersey, and I was in a place
Mm-hmm.
called Harrison, which was just 15 minutes away, 15-20 minutes by train to New York City, which
Okay.
is one of the, busiest city and one of the
Okay.
costliest, expensive city to live in. And
I
now
know.
that
I know.
I'm in
Yeah.
London, which is another expensive city, and I come from Mumbai, which is another expensive city. So I have been,
Right.
throughout my journey, I have been disciplined to, manage my expenses, and I have been mindful of my expenses to avoid, any unnecessary spending. I think the first thing after you land up with a job should be, how do you clear your financial burdens, like for
Right.
the loan responsibility, how do you get away with it. So overall it's about, staying disciplined and planning
Right.
ahead. I think with current global scenarios where, all the all over the world is going through a rough patch where
Right.
people end up,
Absolutely.
losing their job. It's good to be thoroughly planned and prioritizing your education loan to be
Mm-hmm.
nullified, and then, deciding about other things in your life. So overall, I'll say it's about staying disciplined and planning ahead with the right approach. I think loan repayment doesn't have to feel like a burden. I think it
Right.
can be
Absolutely.
managed effectively alongside, your daily life, and I've been doing that, and
Right.
I have not witnessed any problems with it. I have lived my
Problems.
life. I have visited countries. I've explored the world. I have enjoyed my thorough life, along with, doing regular prepayment of my EMIs for the education
Oh,
loan.
that's amazing. This is something uh, that'll definitely give a lot of confidence to the students that repayment of education loan is not something that is a taboo. It is like, because a lot of students think that how would we repay the
Yeah,
education loan? Taking the education loan may be a simple task now. Being student cover into this profession, we make sure that like all the students get education loan. But when we tell them about education loan, this is the first question that most of the students have, that okay, when
yeah,
do we have to repay it? That whether we have the, or whether we would be having the EMI just from the very first month, okay, or we would have the EMI starting after our graduation, or after we'll complete our studies. So this is a question that basically has been there in students mind a lot of times, what we have heard.
yeah.
If you could just share some information related to that, it will be great as well. Like, when do you start paying the loan repayment?
I think with student cover, we also have an option like to bypass the EMIs at the start, the interest which goes on building
Right.
in the principal amount. So if you're
Right.
not, if you're, if you don't want to, pay your EMIs or put burden on your parents, you could consider,
Right.
starting your EMIs after you're graduated when you have a job. And that's the
Right.
option I
Absolutely.
selected because I didn't want it to financially burden my parents with the interest EMI. So
Right.
I think there are quite flexible options in the market right now. And the
Mm-hmm.
fact that, it's the education loan that brought you to this world of opportunities, and
Right.
you should be grateful to it rather than cribbing about it. So I
Right.
think,
Right.
again, like, a disciplined approach towards it, and trust me, it's really easy with the salary you earned in US that you would be able to manage
Manage your
effectively paying off your
right.
loan and, enjoying a healthy lifestyle, which we are for. Like definitely we left India, we left our, comfort zone, we left our families, not just to, come here and earn money, but to explore the world, explore the culture, gain some
Right.
experiences, travel the world. So
Right.
I think it's really manageable to pay off your EMIs along with, doing all this task, all these activities around you, and whatever you want to enjoy your life.
Right. Nice. Nice. Like, after your answer, a lot of students would now plan to travel if they are having,
Yeah,
confusions in their thought process that whether to go or not. Now, definitely they
uh,
will.
I think, as you mentioned, it's kind of taboo for for us who come from middle class family. Like we don't want this
Yes.
burden of education loan, but I think I
Right.
have an opposite side to it. Like it's the loan that will get you out of your comfort zone to the world of opportunities that can be United States, United Kingdom, wherever you're applying for. So be grateful to
Right.
it rather than creeping about it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, I'll not take much of your time. Basically, I know that you have to go to your office as well, and you also have your daily routine. You have work.
Yeah.
The last but not the least question I would ask would be related to, what advice you would want to give to the students. Like one advice that you think would be very insightful for the students in terms of anything that you think, whether related to education loan, related to study abroad, related to whatever comes to your mind.
Yes, Puneet, definitely. I think I have stuck with this quote of mine, which has helped me to get through this journey of life. My first advice would be definitely chase your dreams and they do come true. And this is the
Uh-huh.
quote that has been with me lifelong, and I have thoroughly enjoyed it. And it's helping me in the journey of my life. And,
Right,
I
absolutely.
understand. I understand, like, it's not easy to, leave behind everything familiar, everything you
Mm-hmm.
have, your families, your comfort zone, maybe your cars, your bikes, your motorbikes, or the money you have in bank account, or your friends. But it's also equally important to decide what's right for you and your future. I think the
Mm-hmm.
journey is challenging, not just at the, start, but throughout the process. So
Right,
you might face several setbacks, like not getting a great GRE score to start with, or being not accepted by your dream university where your friends are, or
right,
your dream university, or even the financial hurdles that I came up with, like
right,
but my advice would be just keep going, stay persistent, and believe in yourself, because studying abroad opens doors to a completely new world of opportunity. It's not just about academics or a career, but it's all about your personal growth and experiencing life beyond what you are now in a whole new way. And one more thing would be, I think many people hesitate to start this journey, because I have been
mm-hmm.
mentoring few of them. Like, I've shared my experience with many of the students. So what they
Okay,
do is, like, they tend to hesitate to start this journey because the process is lengthy, they can feel
right.
overwhelming. But I just tell them, I think there's a famous dialogue in a movie, Om Shanti Om. It goes
I
like,
was about,
yeah,
I'll tell
I
you what, I was
is
just
it
about to say that,
yeah,
that you
is it
believe in Shah Rukh Khan dialogue.
I believe that it's like, अगर किसी चीज को दिल से चाहो तो पूरी कायनात उसे तुम्हें मिलाने की कोशिश में लग जाती है. I think it translates into, if you truly desire something with all your heart, the universe conspires to help you to achieve it. So I
That's
think
telepathy.
yeah,
Believe me, that's
yeah,
telepathy. I was about to, I thought that when you'll finish,
yeah.
answering this question, I'll say about this
Yeah.
dialogue of Shah Rukh Khan, and
I've
you
been
said it.
yeah,
Wow.
I've been telling this to many people, like this dialogue, and keep chasing your dreams, they do come true. And take the
Right,
first step, plan well, and trust the process. There would be challenges that challenge you, but the challenges that you face today will obviously pave a way for brighter and more rewarding future that awaits for you and your family. Of course, it's not just you who is going to be prosperous after this higher education. It would be whole of your family. I think you
right,
could take your parents to United States, that would give them opportunity to visit there, or like take them around. So this is your
right.
opportunity, grab it with your whole hands.
Nice, nice, amazing, amazing. So, the advice for the students is never give up. Never give up.
Never give up.
Failures would be
Yeah,
there. You'll fail in something, but you should
yeah,
be persistent. You should never give up. Okay, take
yeah.
one step at a time, and you'll be there. Whatever your dreams would be,
I know.
just think
Yeah.
about your dreams, and you'll be there one day.
And yeah, true. Like a person like me who was rejected numerous times for a visa can make up here. So why don't you?
Right.
You
Yes,
can just never
absolutely.
give
You're
up.
you're a great example
Yeah,
Like you can be an inspiration to the students who are facing a lot
definitely.
of challenges to study abroad. Like right now, what I hear from a lot of students, they're getting a lot of visa rejections, specifically, due to the new politics system that is happening all around the world. And
Yeah, I
there are
know.
a lot of visa rejections in US, in Canada. A lot of stringent rules are coming in different countries. So travel study abroad is getting little,
Yeah.
challenging for the students. But when you have that thought in your mind that you have to go and study, so you should
Yeah.
never give up.
All right, Puneet. Thank you. Cheers. Bye. Take care. See you soon.
Cheers. Bye bye.
Bye.
Take care.